DreAllDay.com.
Volume up. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you're the huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves me, you, and everybody else out there into taking action. Instead of waiting for things to happen, going and making things happen. We put all this together, package all this up into one package. What you get is the mindset, the method, the podcast, the book called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic, we're going to talk about competition. Actually, we're going to talk about why the competition doesn't even matter. So we're going to talk about them, but we're not talking about them at the same time. Now, we understand. Now, of course, myself and any of you who is in sports, whether as a coach, trainer, or player, we understand that the whole purpose of being in the sport is to compete. Whether we're competing against our teammates because we got to beat them out for a certain position in the hierarchy, we're competing against the opponents because, of course, we got to beat them at the meet or in the match or in the game or in the season or in the tournament or whatever the event is where our champion is crowned. And we compete against ourselves. Those of you who are in sports where you may not have a direct competitor, but you're just competing against, maybe you're competing against the clock. Maybe you just want to beat your time from last time. Maybe you just want to do as best you can while you still have the opportunity to play your sport. Maybe you just want to beat your score from the last time you did it or the best score that you ever did. Or you're just trying to find out how good can I actually be at this, and it's more about a self-satisfaction thing than it is about beating anybody else or you being able to feel like you're better than somebody or comparing your numbers to anybody else's numbers. You're just competing against you and competing against time, just competing against your own thoughts and your own ideas. Whatever you happen to be competing against, unless you're competing against yourself, that may be the exception. But if you're competing against another team or you're trying to put up better stats than another player or you're trying to get ranked higher than somebody else in your age group or in your city or in your town, or you're running a business. Of course, if you don't have to be in sports to be in competition. If you're a business person and you have other people in your niche or niche, I don't know which one, I think they're both correct. But you have other people in your niche who may be better than you, or at least you think they're better than you, or they just seem to, it looks like they are just based on what they're posting on their websites and on their social media. Your company has a rival company across town or maybe across the street who's trying to steal some of your customers, or maybe they're copying some of your business practices and you're copying some of theirs, and it's just a back and forth, neck and neck competition. No matter what form of competition you happen to be involved in, as long as that competition involves another entity outside of yourself. Okay, that's what we're talking about here today. I'm not talking about those you competing against yourselves. If you competing against some other entity, a business or person who is not you, competition doesn't matter. That's today's topic. The competition does not matter. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why competition doesn't matter as you follow my points here today. Point number one. Number one reason why the competition doesn't matter, and doesn't matter what they do or what they're saying or what they happen to be projecting out there or want people to think about them, understand something. Nobody can beat you at being you. So no matter what the competition does, whether they steal some of your best ideas or whatever's working the most for you, they start doing the exact same thing, just doing it a little bit differently, or you think somebody's just beating you out because whatever they're doing, they just happen to be getting a better ROI, better returns on their work than you're getting on you. Nobody can beat you at being you. So who is really competing against you? Really nobody, because nobody can take the you that is your number one key point of uniqueness. Nobody can take that away from you. And nobody can beat you at it even if they try to. If someone's trying to beat you at being you, you should be happy because it means there's no way they're going to last this competition. They're guaranteed to lose. As long as, actually, let me add something to that. They're guaranteed to lose as long as you remember that that is your key point of differentiation and you stick to putting that out there on Front Street. That I'm referring to is you being you. That's the number one thing that you will always have to differentiate you from everybody else, which means your preferences, your quirks, your idiosyncrasies, just the little things about you that some people may see as weird, other people see as funny, other people see as cute or endearing, other people see as sweet, other people don't even pay attention to. Those things that make you you, that rare combination of traits and habits and ways of being that no one else has that exact combination that you have. That is the number one thing that differentiates you from anybody else, because no one can match that combination of differences that makes you unique. All right, so there's nobody who can compete with you at that. Now, somebody could compete with you at making boxes. Somebody can compete with you at putting together the best widget. Somebody can compete with you in customer service. Somebody can compete with you in putting out more products or more services or selling for lower prices. Somebody can compete with you in any of those other things. Somebody can compete with you in having more fans or having more followers or having a higher profit margin. Somebody could beat you at all of those things, but you being yourself, that's the one thing you can never lose at, which means when push comes to shove, you need to make sure you are emphasizing that uniqueness out of all proportion. And what I mean by emphasize that uniqueness means you need to look within yourself. If your brand is not a personal brand, if your business is not just about who you are as a person, maybe it's a company or maybe you're part of a company, so it's not about just you personally. When I say emphasizing the uniqueness of you, what I mean is you need to think about the way that you look at things. Look at your perspective, your opinions, your angles, the things that you think about, the things that you've been through, the things that you want to go through, think your hopes, dreams, wishes, fears, anxieties, things that stress you out, your worries. All of those things are what make you you. You need to take those and use them in a way that nobody else, use them in a way that is genuine and unique. All right, that's the best way that I can put it that will cover everybody. All right, don't try to think about what is the other guy doing or what would they do or how can I beat them out. You need to think about how can I emphasize who I am and what I'm seeing. Because somebody else is going to see that, a consumer I'm referring to, is going to see that and they're going to say, I like that. That's me. They're speaking to me. I want to buy into what this person is doing. Understand that the worst place you could possibly be is somewhere in the middle of, and I'm referring to the way that the consumers are looking at you, not your competition, but the way the consumers look at you as you're not on the edges. You're not on either one of those edges. So you don't want to be in the middle of the bell curve. Now, if you don't know what the bell curve is, Google it so you understand, you get a visual to what I'm talking about right here. The bell curve is there's a few people on the far end, on the low end on the left, and there's a few people on the high end, and most people are somewhere in the middle. You don't want to be in the middle because in the middle is where the masses are. And in the middle where the masses are, that's where the commodities are. And commodities, the price of commodities just gets driven down over time simply because we got so much options. We got so many options and so many to choose from. But when you're on the edges of that bell curve, people don't have a choice. All right, they're looking for you actually. So it's not like they feel like they're being handcuffed into a decision. They don't want to have a choice. They don't have one and they don't want to have one because they're looking specifically for you. It doesn't matter who else is out there. They're not even looking in the commodities bin, the bargain bin of the commodities. They're looking straight for you simply because you have some uniqueness that makes you stand out. And one piece of uniqueness that every one of us has. Now, you can engineer uniqueness in other ways in your product, services, and business, of course. But the one uniqueness that every single one of us is born with, that we always have, even if you fail at any other point of differentiation, you always have yourself as a point of uniqueness. While other people may copy your stuff, plagiarize you, try to sound like you, mimic your techniques and strategies, is a race that they can't possibly win because they have to watch you before they make their next move. See, if someone's gonna copy everything that you do, you gotta do it first before they can do it, right? So even if someone decides they're gonna copy every single thing about you in their way, you keep leading and let other people watch you and follow and compete against you. Because as they say in sales, if you're not the lead dog, the view never changes. Meaning those other people who are copying and following you, they, again, as I just said, they can't do anything until they see you do it first. So by the time they finally figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it and they implement it, you're already on to the next thing. And then you're on to the next thing and the next thing. And eventually they get so far behind in the race that it's not even a race anymore. All right, and they're the dog in second place is going to feel like they're in the lead because they can't even see the ass of the dog that's in first place, which is you, because you're so far ahead of them. Point number 2. Today's topic is why the competition does not matter. Understand that every minute, every second that you invest in watching, studying, scheming against the competition, that's a moment that you are not putting into yourself, which means you're robbing yourself. You're robbing your number one business, which is your life. You're robbing that business of its greatest asset, which is your attention. Because ultimately what you bring to the game, your uniqueness, as we already talked about, that's what's going to sell you and keep people coming back to you. It's not the fact that you tried or succeeded at outgunning the competition that makes people come back to you. People come to you because there's something about you that stands out that makes them want to pay attention to you. There's something about you that they say, they gravitate towards you. They don't say it, but unconsciously they gravitate towards you. They may not even be able to explain it. They'll explain it in a logical way, but they can't explain really what's making them gravitate to you because a lot of it's unconscious. But it's you, first of all, understanding what your uniqueness is and not hiding that uniqueness, but actually putting that uniqueness out there in its full the light and glory so everybody can see it and appreciate it. That's what's going to make you stand out from everybody else. All right? It's not the fact that you tried and even succeeded at outgunning the competition that makes you stand out. The uniqueness is what makes you stand out, and you got to remember that. So there doesn't even matter what the competition does or what they're doing, because they can't ever out unique you. And again, there's a certain audience that's going to be for you. There's a certain audience that's not going to be for you. You don't need to look at what those people are doing, because they're not for you. There's nothing you can do that's going to change their mind either. Point number 3. Today's topic is why the competition doesn't matter. Understand that your audience, whoever your audience is, whether they are buying a product from you, whether they have a membership from you, whether they're subscribing to something that you're putting out free of cost, your audience is going to sample what the competition is doing, with or without your permission, with or without you bringing them up, with or without you getting better or worse. They're going to sample what the competition is doing. All right, so no matter what you do or how great you are, your audience is going to look around. All right, someone's looking for a podcast on confidence. They're going to listen to this. They're going to listen to somebody else. They're going to Google a couple other people, and that's just what people are going to do. Why? Because it's available. We're going to take a look at it. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's see what this is. If you like a certain brand of potato chips, you might go to the store and see another brand that's on sale that week. You might try that. You might try at least one bag of those chips out just to see what it's like. You know what I mean? Let me just get us a taste. Maybe it's better than what I'm already doing. You may go right back to what you had before, or you may just implement that, and now you got 2 favorite bags, and maybe it'll change your mind, and you'll go with the new bag at least for a while. Understand that your audience, no matter how they became your audience and what they're doing to be your audience, they're going to sample the competition. They probably already sampled the competition. So no matter how great you are, you're not going to keep them from looking around, because this is what people do. We want to see what's out there. Curiosity is it's one of the things that makes humans humans. So no strategy of yours is going to keep your customers or fans from looking and seeing what everyone else is doing. So you don't need to worry about the fact that they're doing that, because they're doing it whether or not you know about it. You can and should even encourage your audience to go look at what the competition is doing, so they can see the difference between them and you, if there is a difference. So what you can do, if you're going to look at the competition, look at them so that you know what makes you different. What differentiates you from the competition? So when your audience goes and looks at them, you can say, hey, go look at the competition. Notice how they represent this right here, but we represent the exact opposite over here. Notice how they do this thing this way, and notice how we do this thing this other way. So since they're going to go look at them, you can even encourage them to do it, but make sure there's a clear difference between what you bring to the table and what they bring to the table in some way that is significant to your audience, whoever your audience is, and whatever you define as significant. Hopefully it's also significant for your audiences. Those are the people who matter, which is why you need to be working on yourself. All of this comes down to why you need to be looking at your offering, your presentation, your brand, your performance, the work that you're putting into your game, the way that you're delivering, because these are the things that this is the reason people buy into you. It's how you perform, what you deliver, what they're getting out of you, how much they feel you understand their needs, and how to solve their challenges, how to bring solutions to their problems, how to give them what they're looking for, whether they're able to explicitly express what they're looking for, which some people can, or not, which many people cannot explicitly express what they're looking for. What they're looking for something is your ability to give them what they're looking for, whether they know it or not. That's what brings people to you, and that's what keeps people around you. And that's why you really need to be focusing on, what am I doing? What am I offering? What am I bringing to the table? Rather than looking around at the competition, because they may be more clueless than you are, or just as clueless, or hey, maybe they may even be smarter. But again, you have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. So when you think they're smarter, maybe they're doing it by accident, don't even realize the strategy behind it. So that's why it's not necessary for you to look so much at what the competition is doing, because they may be doing something that's working, but they may not even know why it's working. Or if you were to ask them, why are you doing things this way, they wouldn't even know why they're doing it that way. It just happens to be working. And as soon as things change and the ground shifts under them, they won't have a solution to that. They won't know how to pivot and make changes, because they didn't even know how they stumbled across the first solution, the thing that was working in the first place. So don't look at them thinking that they have it all figured out, because they may not know anything. It may know less than you. Maybe it's just working for them now. Maybe it's working terribly for them right now, so that's why you're ahead. But maybe it's working for them and they're farther ahead than you. But understand that if you spend more time looking at yourself, looking at your offerings, you can perfect what you bring to the table. Looking at your audience, looking at the people who you want to be in your audience, you can perfect bringing to the table what those people will want. And the better you do that, the more people are going to stick around with you, regardless of who the competition is or what the competition does, if there is any competition. And unless you look at the competition, unless they exist, as we know, we pay attention to grows and expands, and what we ignore shrivels up and it dies. So let's recap today's topic, which is why the competition doesn't matter. Whether you're an athlete playing a sport where there's direct competition that's encouraged, you're in business where there's direct competition that sometimes is more subtle, sometimes you're aware of the competition, sometimes you don't even know about the people who are squaring up or gearing up to compete against you and take the ground right from under you right now. Any competition that you find yourself in where you acknowledge it as competition, I want you to understand that the competition doesn't really matter. There's 3 reasons why. Number 1, nobody can beat you at being you. All right, so the competition who's competing against you doesn't really exist, because while they could copy your stuff, plagiarize you, mimic your techniques, they can't possibly win a race of trying to be you, because they got to watch you before they can make their next move anyway. And by the time they catch up to everything you're doing, you've already moved on to the next thing and 3 more things after that. So they can never pass you. Point number 2, every moment you spend invested in watching, studying the competition is a moment that you're not putting into yourself. So you're robbing your business, your brand, and your life of its number 1 asset, which is you and your attention. Because ultimately what you bring to the game and your uniqueness, that's what sells you to and keeps people coming back to you. It's not the fact that you're better than the competition or you're looking at them and then outdoing them that makes your audience come to you. It's whatever you bring to the audience that makes them want to come to you. It has nothing to do with the competition. Ostensibly it doesn't. And number 3, your audience is going to sample the competition anyway. They may have already looked and dealt with the competition before they even came to you. Maybe they went to competition first, decided there may be something better out there, and that's how they found you. Maybe they came to you first. They're still going to look around and say, hey, maybe there's something better, and they're going to look around that competition. So what you need to do is, again, focus on your uniqueness, emphasize your uniqueness, because no strategy of yours is going to keep fans or audience members from looking and seeing what else is out there. So you could, if you want to, even encourage your audience. Hey, go look at who else is out there. Go listen to somebody else's podcast. Go read someone else's books. Go see what else other people are offering in this particular area in which I'm offering my goods and services. And they're going to see the difference between them and you, provided that there is something different between them and you, which is, again, why you continue to focus on and press on the advantage of your uniqueness. It doesn't even matter what anybody else is doing. Nobody's going to be able to copy that uniqueness. And that's why you need to be spending the most time, the most energy and attention working on yourself. Let's talk about what's going on in the game group. As you can see, we set the portal up so that all of the access areas of the game group are right there in the member portal. We didn't want you to have to open too many different pages to get to each section. I felt like that was tedious when I would go through it myself. So I'm just thinking how you all members would be thinking. So everything's right there on the member portal page. Of course, there are still some pages that will open when you open them, such as the monthly themes and a couple of the master classes, but some of them we just set up as light boxes. You can click on it and a video will open, or whatever that material within is, it will open. We're continually adding transcripts to it. Of course, we got this Work on Your Game podcast. If you have not posted anything in the forum, go ahead and post it, unless everything's going perfect for you. If everything's going perfect, post that in the forum as well, because look, maybe somebody else can learn from you. Maybe I got some questions for you as to how you got everything going perfect. So unless everything's going perfect, post something in the forum, let people know what you're doing, what your challenges are, what questions you have. I'm in there, of course, reading, of course, responding to everything. And that's what's going on in the game group. If you are not yet a member of the game group, all that information is at dreallday.com/membership. Game group, again, strategy leading to results. That is the key thing you're going to get from the game group. Of course, there's plenty of information. Of course, there's plenty of content. Of course, you get access to my member vault. Of course, there are a whole bunch of other goodies you get, and all the information, again, is on the game group website. But it's the strategies that lead to the results that really matter. That's what keep people coming back. And I mean, that's what working on your game is for, right? So if you're not there in the game group, go over there, join. We'd love to see you in there so we can help you create those results through the proven strategies. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.